So this week we're looking at the subposition of mount that is technical mount or triple attack. I call it triple attack because there are three types of attacks from here, and we used to call it triple attack. Those types of attack are chokes, arm bars, and back takes. And the subposition that we're looking at is when he turns, let's say, on his left side, and I switch to here. I switch to triple attack, which is my knee behind his head and my foot in front of his hip here. So he turns on his side. Good. With my opponent on his side, I like to threaten the gift wrap. We'll talk about gift wrap submissions as well. But a lot of times I do this because a lot of times the person resists. So when I start pushing, he resists. And if I just turn my hand over, my hand slides into this space. And this space is sort of the coveted space underneath his arms where they begin to interlock, where you can see the arm bar, but maybe less obviously these chokes. Having pushed on his elbow, he resists, and I sneak into this space. I can now flip the collar. My other hand's going to come around behind and get a nice deep grip. This one's pulling the slack out. This one's getting a nice deep grip. And now this hand, I want behind his head, but we can run into the trouble if he realizes that I'm going back there, that he clamps his elbow down. Okay. So before he realizes what's going on, I want to hoist up into his elbow pit. So I'm coming all the way up here, the end of the lever on the humerus. And now it's hard for him to clamp his elbow down, especially because I've shelved my elbow on my own leg. So from here, I can shoot this behind his head, and I'm trying to put my hand over my arm while I straighten the arm with the lapel. So I'm sort of hanging him by his lapel while I'm sort of chopping veggies here. Once we're on our side, I have the immediate first movement of pushing this, and when he resists, I just slide underneath. Here I can get the lapel, feed the collar, and then immediately I come to the end of the lever of his upper arm so that his clamps will be ineffective. I shelf my elbow on my leg. From here, this is a straight shot into here, and the choke is right there. We sometimes run into the trouble, if you're going for this half Nelson choke, that he clamps a little earlier than I thought. So push, he resists. I get the lapel, and he's already hand fighting or arm fighting, and he's closing all this down. If that's the case, I'll probably never get his arm up. He's stronger than me especially. So I take the attacking arm out. I grab the knee material outside the top knee. And from here, I'm going to open my foot behind him. Open my foot, fall to my hip and elbow. Not my back. Fall to your hip and your elbow. And you notice I'm taking his knee out of alignment. From here, leg goes over his shoulder. You can catch his arm sometimes, but don't need to. And from here, now I can lay back, straighten my arms, and I have the full row of power. He turns on his side. I push. He resists because he doesn't want this. That gives me this lapel. I catch the lapel, the choking arm, and without grabbing anything, if I don't control his arm and don't control his pants, he can spin, so he spins like this, and he actually unwinds my choke. I'll go all the way. He unwinds my choke completely. That's why we underhook the arm, and that's why the step of holding the pant in a bow and arrow is so important. Push this, he resists, and I get my choke. That's good. If it's not going to be this one, and you know it because he's hand fighting or clamping, take it out right away, get something, and that's going to be the pants. Now I open my back leg. This one opens up so I can fall directly to my hip and elbow, and I'm keeping his knee. This comes over the top. Now I can lay back. I don't fall to my back in the beginning, but now it's okay to go here where I'll have all that power. Resist. Clamp. My elbow. Okay, so triple attack. We've looked at a couple of chokes. Let's look at, we have an arm bar and a back take left to do. Let's look at the arm bar. The arm bar you probably realized we had as soon as we got our arm into that sort of coveted space, right? So when he turns on his side, and I slide in, this pushing his arm, little gambit to get into this space. And what I'm gonna do now that I've got interlocked arms is I am gonna put my hand against my chest, because this is the actual sort of interweaving of our elbows. But when I do that, it sends a very strong signal to him that I'm gonna go for an armbar. So I really want to also control his ability to look at me. So I'm gonna do these two things at the same time. So I have his jawline right down the center between my thumb meat and my pinky meat. So I've pushed my way into here. Boom, as soon as they're interlocked, if I'm gonna bring it up here and have a pull force, I also want a push force. The danger is if I have a pull force and I'll move and he can pull himself on top, I've lost everything, including the position I probably worked hard to achieve. So on his side, push this through, he resists. Careful about just telling him about the armbar. Also, make sure he can't turn to face you. And from here, I'm going to show him the bottom of my foot, just turn my foot over. It does frequently mean that you're cupping the tricep. Now lean away from his face so that my left leg gets light. And I'm gonna, maybe it takes one hop, but you want to replace your hand with your calf. This is a very Indiana Jones movement where I'm removing one thing, but I have to replace it right away with this other one. Him looking at me is probably the beginning of him spinning into me, so now my leg is doing that job and I can continue to finish the armbar here. He turns. As soon as I'm in here, I'm also controlling the face. Show him the bottom of my foot and lean away. And now my calf replaces this hand. Calf replaces this hand as the thing keeping him looking away. And from here, I'll sit back and finish the armbar. I prefer 2 C grips on the wrist here, and you're probably with his right arm going to want to break it over your right hip. Okay, the back take is going to start the same way. Also assumes I did not get gift wrap. Okay, that he resisted. So he turns on his side. I'm here, and I push, and he resists, but I slide my hand into this space. From here, this is the under of a future over-under harness. First, I'll put my harness in. I'm going to lower myself, and I drive in a little more. I just really want to expose the back a little more, because I would like, I want to hold as a standard for myself that I want the center of my chest on the center of his back. So this is a harness, but I'm on his shoulder, like his lat. If I could, get a little lower, I'll drive in here. Now the center of my chest is closer to the center of his back. And in this case, I'm gonna open this foot, just like we did for the earlier move. And now I'm gonna fall to my butt, fall across to this side. And when I land, if you turn a little bit, when I land, I don't have 2 hooks in, I have 1 hook across, but I'm on the underside, and that's actually an okay thing for us from the underside. We've done an earlier class and video where we talked about the straight jacket system from the underside attacking the back. So this is actually an okay thing. This could also be a body triangle, this could be a bunch of things. So this is not a problematic control. I don't need to switch. 1 across both hips is actually a good control. So he turns on his side, and I push and gain this space. Now I'm going to lower, steamroll to get the center of my chest and the center of the back, open my foot and fall toward the feet. I'm almost intending to fall toward his feet. And I'm going to land here. Now I'm on the underside with good attacking options. Now let's talk about if I do get the gift wrap grip. If I get the gift wrap grip, the reason this is so bad and you can expect resistance on it, and it's essentially my gambit to tell them I want this so they resist so I can get in this space. The reason everyone will resist this who knows some jiu-jitsu is because there's a really, really bad position for him. I have a rotational control on him that prevents him from facing me. If this was a fight, of course I can just be doing whatever I want right now. So this is all not good for him. In fact, this is our twisting arm control from our self-defense, if you remember. Now, making use of this, there's a few things we can do. Actually, there are still arm bars and back takes and chokes. If I wrap in here, I can either hold my wrist or his wrist. His wrist will be more control on his arm. My wrist will be more useful, I believe, for this armbar, because now once I have this grip, I just bring this around his head, and I'm using, to keep him from facing me now, a full-on jiu-jitsu frame. This is like the two-handed, very strong frame here. That's what's so good about this. So once I do catch this, I weave this one in as well, and I'll grab my wrist, clear his head here, and use my frame now to keep him looking away from me while I do the whole rest of my armbar setup identically. My left leg took over for my frame. The only thing that might be awkward the first time you do it is, when do I switch from this to this? But you'll know when. It's most of the way sitting back. You just let go of the figure four, no longer necessary. You get 2 C grips on the wrist. I do catch the gift wrap. Now I'm going to weave this one in, hold my wrist, unentangle his head, and now use the frame, my forearm as a frame to keep him facing away from me. Show him my foot, the rest is the same. Lean away, replace my frame with my leg, sit back, 2 C grips, his right arm, my right hip. He turns on his side. I do catch the gift wrap, and now the back take. Even better than landing in the underside, where we hope we can catch our straitjacket system, is setting up the straitjacket right now. I'll just catch his arm here, okay? So because I already have this one across, I'm gonna look for the other one with my pinky, and then turn my grip over, hold onto his hand. And from here, I can take the back essentially the same way we did before. I want to close the space between him and I want to open my foot, and I'm going to sit back and pull him on. Just make sure when you pull them on, it may be hard to make chest to back connection because he's just so low. I may have long femur, I may be tall, and it's hard to get down here. If that's the case, you just have to make up for it with a hoist and a hug that you do when you fall back. So I'm going to pull him up onto me with using his arms. But now I'm already in our attack position here. And in this case, I can go for the back by looking with my pinky for his other hand, crossing the arms, get as low as you can, open your foot, and then when you fall to the back, let's turn a little bit this way. When I fall to the back, just a little bit of a hoist to make sure he stays on me. And from here, I can go right to my back system. I've already got the arms entangled. I'm in a good place to start choking. But the back take is put the straitjacket right on, hoist and hug with the arms, and fall to the side. If I do get the gift wrap position, there is also a choke. This is more of an esoteric move. I got it from my friend and coach, Jay Bell, and I'm going to show you the details as I learn them. This is one that takes a little bit of feel, but I think that you guys can feel your way through it. If he turns on his side, this is all the same. I do get gift wrap, so I succeed in capturing this, okay? Now for the choke, I have to think about where the carotids are. The carotids are not on the sides of the neck. They're like more in front. Think about, an inch outside of the tree. Okay, so I'm gonna weave this hand in now, but put it on this side of the neck. Not here, but up here, okay? Now, you see the importance of why I said where the carotids are, because there will be a temptation to do this, but I'm just Frankensteining him. I'm just putting pressure here. It's not pleasant, but it's not a submission. But if I can aim my wrist, like put this one in front and put this one in front, I have a better chance of finding the carotids. And then the only thing to improve is my body position. So the way that Jay told me he likes to finish it is this time I do fold my leg in and I pull him onto my lap. And from here, I have him on my lap. I'm able to hug him. I think that makes this hand stronger. That's one reason that this is a position upgrade to pull him on my lap, is that this one can pull through the carotid on that side toward me. And really I'm just hugging him through a wrench in the works, and that's what this is. But you can give this some energy too, some pushing energy. So we were here. I did catch the gift wrap. Now I put this in, I pull him on my lap, Think about where your hands are. Are they in the front or are they on the side? On the side, you won't get the tap and you'll wonder why. If they're in the front enough, then you'll get that. It is also uncomfortable, but it is a choke. Turns on the side, I do catch, I weave in, pull them onto my lap,